Hello and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Video Mastermind, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry, technology, and services to help you create more videos to use in your mortgage business. Okay, and we're live, and welcome everyone. We're actually starting with a conversation. I was sharing with Scott and Jeff that this week I was called a matriarch. Someone called me a matriarch of the mortgage industry. So I compliment, yes, but it did make me feel older. So anyway.
Take some time to earn that title, you know.
It definitely does. Okay, so welcome everyone. We want to welcome you to another episode of Mortgage Video Mastermind. And today I'm super excited. We have Scott Sheng is with me. My name is Ginger Bell, for those of you watching for the first time, and I have a special guest, Jeff Garber. And Jeff has been in the industry for a long time, producing a lot of good stuff for the long time, just as far as social media and things like that that are out there, and really started doubling down on your video a couple of months ago, Jeff. And I know some of the things that you've been doing are really cool. Number one, in consistency. So that's the first thing, that you're consistently doing it. And then number two, utilizing some of the technology and systems that you have and making videos about that. So specifically HomeBot, MBS Highway. And so that's what we want to kind of unpack today is, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And how can other people do it? So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's just start off with, because I know when you started doing your videos, you decided you wanted to do a weekly mortgage update. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, so my whole premise was to get a YouTube page and a combination of give back some knowledge from all the years of getting the questions and giving the answers, and using it as a branding tool, and obviously hoping it could help my business. So one thing I've always specialized in was MBS Highway and following Barry and his advice. And so I decided to start making a weekly mortgage interest rate update, and not knowing exactly what was going to happen, but we started doing them. We put them up, and they went out on all the socials. And I think right away I got a lead from it and a loan. So I said, all right, let's keep doing this. Somebody's
okay,
watching.
so let's back to so the first one that you did.
Yep.
And it was just talking about some of the tools you use for MBS Highway. So tell me about what did you talk about? What did you show? Because there's a lot obviously on MBS Highway
There
to
is,
talk
yeah.
about.
So when it comes to the market updates, I use Vidyard as my camera tool, and I share my screen, and you can see me, and then I pull up the chart, the daily chart, showing what the mortgage bonds are doing, do a quick education on how that works, and then I give a little bit of commentary on what's going on and why. And I try to keep it short, get to the point, let people know what's going on, and then get that up. And it's like 4-minute video. And then go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so really, and here's the thing, and it's not that you want to have a conversation about rate every single week, because we don't ever want that. But what's happening in the market, and if you're doing a market update, so one week you could be talking about, hey, the Fed's, and that was a big one for you.
Yeah.
Because there was so much on the news about it, right? So anytime there is something on the news that talks about mortgages, real estate, interest rate, you want to do a video surrounding it. And include some of the conversation, right, that's happening in the news, because people are searching for that. And so I know for Kyle Seagraves, that was a big thing for him, is to always do that. And he really got to where he is on his YouTube channel is because he would always look for what people in the news were talking about. So you did that, talked about obviously the bump as far as what was happening with the Fed did. And then you went into what did you talk about? What did you show as far as MBS Highway on that?
So I would really just show the screen that shows the mortgage-backed securities and the bond page. And then, like you said, I would basically pick out what's going on and why. Okay. And this is probably the best market. If you're going to do video updates or interest rate updates in a rising market, when everybody's aware of it is probably the best time to do it, because there's so much misinformation out there. A lot of the media gets a lot of it wrong. And I'm just trying to set it straight and actually twist it from like this negative that rates are high to, hey, we're still really good, relatively speaking. And, give them the education behind it, and try to make them feel comfortable that if you are going to buy now, don't feel bad. Okay, so maybe the rates aren't as low as they were before, but that doesn't mean you're going to have this rate forever. Every time rates go up, you're creating another refinance boom. And that's when we can come around and take care of you with a no-cost refi down the road. So I think just trying to give the proper education to people and set it straight versus the media saying, oh my God, rates are going up, affordability, you're not gonna be able to afford, like they just paint the doom and gloom. So
Right.
I look at myself more as like, all right, let me undoom and gloom a little bit if I can. And that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like also is don't use the language of rising rates. Use the language of a volatile market or a quickly changing market, because even in a stable market, rates literally change multiple times throughout the day. They can, right? And consumers don't know that. So I don't like to get pigeonholed into saying rates are rising, because rates are rising and falling multiple times a day right now, right? Right, Jeff? Like, I mean, there's a lot that we could be talking, and this is a really good time because, like you said, Ginger, 100% newsjacking is a really good strategy. But right now, inflation, the recession, interest rates, lack of inventory, it's literally in the news every single day, and it's going to continue to be in the news for months. Until something gives, until something happens. But there's a lot to talk about right now. So really, really good job getting in front of that. And how much do you go into, because I've always been curious about this. I see a lot of loan officers that talk about the bond markets like they're talking to other loan officers, even talking about the Fed rates. Consumers just don't understand what drives rates. They don't know what candlestick charts are. How do you address that?
So, I forever in the industry, everybody's told me, like, don't do this, Jeff, stay away from rates. Don't go into that. And I'm like, you know what? It works for me when I get into it. I find that I get shopped less when they're educated and they know exactly what I'm doing for them. And I learned this from another industry professional a long time ago, but I try to professionally confuse them a little bit just to let them know that I'm an expert. But at the same time, I also dumb it down to a 5th grade level. So every time I start, I can almost start every week's video like somebody's never seen it before. And I'll say, for those of you that are new, let me just tell you what you're looking at here. And the way the bond market works is very simple. Red is a bad day, green is a good day. And then I tell them, just to cut to the chase here, I just tell them, bonds go opposite of stocks. So as bond prices go down, rate is going up. And then this is what you're seeing here. So I really dumb it down to the red and green, and then the escalator of the direction that we're in, and then why we're in there. And then if they're following from week to week, it's almost like a soap opera. Like, yeah, he said that last week, and I can see that now. Like, we're worse than we were last week. But if they're new, I try to tell them, hey, look, mortgages come from the bond market. They trade on the bond market. These are mortgages that trade. And sometimes I even say, look, this gets a little, I made up a word, economic-y, but, I try to give you a little bit so you understand just enough to be dangerous. Yeah. And that's worked. I do that even in my buyer presentations. I'll do those online, Zoom with people, and they almost inevitably ask now in this market, like, what's going on with rates? I'm like, funny that you asked, let me share my screen. And I show them that. And I have so many realtors and clients that are like, oh my God, I did not know that this is where rates came from. We thought each lender just kind of, puts out a rate that they're going to do every day. I'm like, no, like, we all price from the same place for the most part. And this is where it's all coming from. And I'm watching it. And because I'm watching it, we don't have to lock exactly at the moment that you get under agreement unless we need to. If the market's getting better and I can show you that, we're going to watch it. If we feel we need to lock, we're going to lock it. And so, for me, having that float lock strategy and the knowledge and being able to bring that down to like a 5th grade level has really helped me. And so I hit it head on. And I share this with other loan officers And once they see how I'm doing it, then they want to embrace it, because it's not what they thought. You know, they didn't realize that you could dummy it down and not get into being all economic and talking about Fibonacci levels and floors and ceilings. And I take all that out. You know, I try to clean up the chart and make it look really, really simple and give them a real quick education on it. And that's worked really well.
Green and red. I love that.
Green and red.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
That is it. It's all about that.
Yeah.
So
I would imagine, and so that's starting high trust conversations, right? Because people, like you said, whatever level you bring it down to, they're not you. They're not dealing with this. They don't know how the sausage is made. You're the first one showing them. So I imagine it probably starts some really good conversations, like a conversation that you don't normally get that deep into the conversation until maybe 20, 15 minutes into meeting somebody for the first time. But because you're putting out this content, they're like, boom, they're hitting you with, I already know, like, and trust you. Right. Explain this to me now.
Yep. It even works with engineers. You know, in fact, I get the most success with people that want to look under the hood.
Yeah.
Because I want to nip that early. You know, like everybody on the call that's an originator, the last thing you want to do is give away all your advice, and then they get under agreement and they shop you. And you're like, you know, so I try to get in front of that early. And I don't always bring it up. Like, there are some people that, you know, rate's not even really that much of an issue. If I detect that, I stay away from it. But in this market, over the last 3-4 months, since we've had the most significant increase, to use your word, volatility in a 3-month period, everybody wants to talk about it, and they want you to make them feel better. About the situation. Yeah.
That's all anybody wants, is they want to feel like they can trust you to help them make the best decision. You can't control the market, but if they've got somebody, if you're an anchor, right? You're their stability. You're the person that they can lean on. And it's like, a second that they trust you, then they feel like they don't have to know all that stuff, because they know somebody that does. You're now an advisor.
Yeah, it really works. I remember one time about 10 years ago, I did this for a whole Remax group of 8 offices. It was like a TV screen, and they wanted to learn how rates work. And I did this. And I was a little nervous because everybody's like, realtors don't care. I mean, at the end of that, I'll never forget, the broker owner, he actually asked me if there was a way that he could put the MBS highway. He wanted the ticker up on every realtor screen. He wanted them to be able to see what we were seeing. And I took that as a compliment that, wow, this is good stuff. And it got through. And from that point on, I never turned back. And I honestly, I didn't listen to a lot of people that don't cover it. Like all the people that are saying, stay away from this, I just ignore. I'm like, wow, it works for me.
So the right answer on that, Jeff, is, well, I can stop by every Monday for your meeting and explain what happened to rates.
Right. That led to a lot of conversations. Yes. But that gave me just proved that, you know, if you have a good system with it and you're confident with it, and you bring it to just the level that makes sense for everybody. And like you were saying, once they know you, like you, and trust you, and they know you're the expert, it's game over for getting shopped. I mean, it really is. You've gotten them off of that. And, you know, in this market, then it's on to how to win the offer with, you know, bid over ask and appraisal gap. And I use Vidyard for that as well, using the bid over ask tool in MBS Highway with a Vidyard video or a Zoom call with your client and a realtor is priceless. That has helped us win so many offers that I don't think we would have got if we didn't stop, slow down, educate, and get people comfortable with the market.
So I'm going to hop in real quick, and you have the videos that you do once a week, gets posted onto social, onto YouTube. And because, you know, you did the meeting with these realtors talking about rate, do you then take the link from YouTube and send that video to your realtor database and say, hey, here's my weekly mortgage update if you want to share with anyone?
You know, hearing you say that just told me that it's something I should be doing. My focus really was, I just wanted to get videos up and get the YouTube page loaded so that I can launch it and it doesn't look like there's 3 videos on it. So I haven't really took it to the next level yet, other than you guys putting it on the socials, and I do get feedback.
Yeah, I almost think that, Jeff, that might be something to do
Great
is
idea.
because if realtors are interested in it, and clearly you know that they are, and you just start in your email database, just, a weekly update that goes out and you tag them and every week they get that, then they can send it. And I'm going to take it one step further because Jeff, you and I are working on the project of the automated webinars, which Frank's not on here and he loves that. And we're in a beta group right now putting all those pieces together. But I'm almost thinking that maybe a webinar that explains how rates work for realtors might be something good to do, and then take that into a broker and maybe brand that for the entire broker for them to give to their real estate agent. So just kind of thinking outside the
Yeah.
box. And that's
You
part of
know,
the thing
what?
when you start doing video too, is you really get to find out ways you can leverage it. So the education you
Yes.
did before, it's like, oh gosh, they did want to know about that. Hey, how can I unpack that and make it easy to get them to not only have the information, but share the information? Because the
Yep.
key, and if Carl was on here, he would clearly say, get it to their database, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to make a note. Oh, sorry, Scott.
No, go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, just on a side note, I always tell realtors, I'm like, you don't need to know this like me, but you need to know just a little bit more than your client, because the worst thing
Mm-hmm.
that can happen is when a client comes to you and is like, hey, Ginger, I know you're my realtor, but I just heard I heard the Fed raised rates. We got to move quick because, mortgage rates are going up. And we know that doesn't always happen when the Fed raises rates. So if the realtor's like, you know what, it doesn't work that way. We need to get, Jeff on the call. And it actually helps them to become more of a professional and not agree with what the consumer is telling them,
Yeah, don't feed
especially with
into the
rates.
fear. Don't feed into
Yeah.
the
So,
fear.
and that's worked well too. I think that's why they like it, because they know a little bit more than they thought they would, and it's not a mystery to them anymore. Because rates are it's a
There's
mystery
a
to everyone.
there's a video for you, Jeff. Don't feed into the fear, and do a video like that and send it to your realtors on the conversations they should be having
Yeah.
with their buyers and their sellers, to calm them down. So, and again, thinking about all the different ways, and you can use video in so many different ways. And, we had Parker, Couch was on last week and talked about how he was getting leads from his friends' parents. And so he was doing videos, and his friends were sharing his videos with their parents, and then the parents were calling him. And so you don't even realize how many are shared. I mean, you talked about that, Scott, the videos that you're doing on how to use HomeBot. And you were just talking to someone at AIM, and AIM said, hey, I just shared all your videos with all of your team. Had you not had that conversation, you probably wouldn't have even known that he had shared all those videos
Yeah.
with his team, right?
Yeah, and what I wanted to mention before, because you were talking about leveraging. So as soon as you create a video, you own a trust asset, and it's always out there and it's always working in your favor. And then how you leverage that trust asset and how you use that to amplify your exposure is really where the game starts to get fun. And we had a lot of luck. We would do the weekly rate updates. Josh would do them. Custom audiences in Facebook of real estate agents. All loan officers can buy a list of real estate agents that do more than 8 buyer side transactions a year. You upload those as a custom audience, and every week you show them the new rate video, and then you get to be known as the person that understands the market. And those kinds of ads pull really, really good. And they're very, very inexpensive because it's not a huge list, and it's only showing to people that are on there and clicking to it. And like you said, Ginger, you talked about that webinar. Maybe the call to action on those weekly things is you put them in your webinar funnel that kind of explains what rates are and how they work, with a call to what does Fraser call it? A call to movement,
Move to action instead of a
a
call to
move,
action,
a
a
move
move
to,
to action. So an
um,
MTA instead of a
yep.
CTA.
Yep. And the move to action is just reach out to Jeff to figure out how you can get this borrower qualified. What do you need to know? It's very, very powerful. Now, Jeff, have you started, because you talked about using HomeBot? HomeBot has that once a month, you can do a one-to-many broadcast to all of your buyer prospects and all of your clients that are in HomeBot. Have you started to add, because all you have to do is add the YouTube video. Have you tried that yet?
No, I just started recording the videos just to get in where when you put people in as a buyer, they see me instead of the generic video. So I'm just getting those set up. And then, like I was telling you before, I really need to go back and watch your videos on all the hacks for it, because I think we can do a better job with HomeBot.
Yeah,
my team.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing, and I love that you're getting results so quickly as well, because it will happen, but it doesn't always happen, right, Ginger? I mean, you can sometimes produce a lot of video and it just kind of goes out there and you don't get that feedback. But I mean, it's been interesting. I've been seeing a lot of comments online where people are having consumers contact them on videos that they did 2 years ago and stopped doing videos. I saw one yesterday from a friend of mine, and he was like, this guy called me on this video. I don't even remember when I did the video, but I stopped doing it years ago because I didn't think it worked. Well, imagine if he would have been doing it for those 2 years, and it's really, really crazy. I mean, with what, 337 million people in the United States, there are a lot of people going onto the internet. It is a level playing field. The only thing that moves it in your favor is if your face can be found on Google or YouTube, right? I mean, It's that easy. It's that easy. And it's the information. But I love this conversation, and congratulations, Jeff, for jumping into this. I love seeing it at this stage, because we're going to have a great conversation in about 6 to 12 months about, I am so glad Ginger made me do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm listening to you guys. I mean, that was the whole thing. I knew I could get the videos, make them, but it was, spending a whole day editing and getting them out on socials. Now I'll let you guys do all that. Plus I get your advice, and, it's really good. It's exciting. You're right.
Well, and I think there's so many opportunities with video. YouTube and Google is one way, and that's to get in front of the people that you don't know. But the second thing you need to do with video is leverage and deepen the relationships that you have. So with your existing clients and then with your partners. And when you think about partners, don't stop at real estate agents. You're doing a market update. I would think financial planners would love to send that out to their database, because obviously they're probably getting questions about the bond from their clients. So what better way to have an expert, maybe even once a month, where you do a call with, a financial planner and say, hey, let me hop on a call with you once a month. We'll record a video. I'll post it onto my YouTube channel. We'll tag you on, social media. And we can talk about what's happening on the bond, not just with stocks, but with rates and things to be aware of, and leveraging one of their most valuable assets in their home. Because there's so many things people can do. And yes, rates are up, but you know what? Some people maybe want to, take out a loan and pull some of their equity out and buy another house. Maybe they want to buy a condo or an investment property, or, those are conversations to continue to have. So don't stop those conversations about refinance just because rates have ticked up. You want to look at where people, what are the reasons in life that people would want to do a refinance? Obviously paying off debt. It's not just about lowering your interest rate. Interest is one component, only one. So continue those conversations and continue to think about, ways to do video. And HomeBot is a really good thing to use that, because what does it have? It tells you what the value of your home is. So I would get in there and do that in your market update. You could even do one with HomeBot talking about, hey, I give this as a free tool for you to be able to use as a client of mine. You could do it for real estate agents, because obviously you can co-brand it with your real estate agents. So just thinking about those things are so good. Poor Jeff, you're going to be recording all weekend long.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Because I see you.
The wheels are spinning. I don't need any more ideas.
Stop with the ideas.
No, this is
ideas.
priceless. This is great.
Well, but
but
it's so fun to be able to do this. And I know, Scott, when you and I started a conversation, about a year and a half ago, and it's like, and Scott and I did this, it's like, okay, everybody needs to make more videos. We both know that. We both, are involved in helping people to do more videos. But just for us, as far as we started just doing a weekly call with each other.
Yeah.
And we just put it on the calendar once a week, and we would have conversations like this. And
like, I wonder if anybody would be interested in listening in on these conversations or joining
right.
these conversations. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's why we started the Mortgage Video Mastermind. It's like, let's just take it online and let's invite our friends on and continue the conversation. And that's, part of where it is. And that's truly where it is working together, helping each other, to be able to lift everyone up as an industry, to be able to provide more education. So first and foremost, thank you for doing that. We're delighted to have you and your expertise, and you're doing a fantastic job. I mean, you're just getting started.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting ready to close out. Scott, I know you always have questions at the end, so I'm going to let you ask our final question of Jeff, and then I'll post down below when we post this too. Jeff, you had said a couple times you use Vidyard, so Vidyard. It actually is there's a free service available, and it's an extension that you can add on to Google. One of the things that I like about it is when you showed how you were using it, is you can actually record you doing the video and your screen at the same time. And I know with Zoom, it's hard to do that because it's a little funky. But with Vidyard, it pulls it up in the middle, and then you said you actually can move it down over to where it's on the side so you can focus on your screen, right?
Exactly. You can move it back and forth. So when you want to emphasize yourself, you pull it back in the middle. And then when you want to emphasize your screen, you put yourself in the corner, and you don't get hidden. Like on Zoom, sometimes you're on a third monitor. They're seeing your screen, but the video is like somewhere off to the right or the left, or sometimes it's even blocking.
Right.
But it still works. It's effective. I just found the video to be very easy, and
I like it. I'm going to use it. Yep.
Is it? Yeah. My question was, it kind of feels a little bit like Loom. How is it different?
It's a little like Loom.
Okay. So StreamYard that shares your video. Yeah, I really don't have any additional questions that I haven't already asked. I'm just really impressed, Jeff, that you got started and you powered through it. And you kind of mentioned something in kind of jokingly, but I do most of my videos on the weekend. Like I plan them throughout the week, and then you bang them out in a couple hours on a Saturday morning when the phones aren't ringing off the hook.
It's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier, and you can absolutely do it. I mean, and the market, quite frankly, the market is closed for the week. So the weekend is a great time to take a couple of minutes on the weekend and crank that out and get it out there. So no, not any real questions other than just comment that really, really good job getting started, and just stick with it. You'll see the results continue to grow exponentially as you get more and more trust assets out there.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Perfect. And then in a year from now, Jeff, that YouTube channel will just be filled, and you won't have to worry about it. I only have 4 videos up because you just.
I'll go from 10 viewers to maybe a couple thousand, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not, people always think it's about the number of subscribers you have. It really isn't. I mean, I know when Kyle reached his level of subscribers to monetize, and his dad, and so his dad called me and said, "Oh, Kyle's so happy his YouTube channel got to where he can monetize." And I said, "That's great, Mike, but that was not the goal."
Unintended consequence.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really good. So keep doing all the great things. Thanks for hopping on the call with us. We really appreciate you sharing, and we look forward to having you on again. So Scott, thanks so much, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, everyone.